break with yours truly, Mr. Taliaferro. Listen, for all intents and purposes, I don't care what anyone else says, The Breakfast Club is the most important urban radio show of this generation. I don't even think that's close. I would put it up there in the all-time ranks with the Tom Joyners, the Steve Harveys, whatever your favorite morning show is. I'm putting The Breakfast Club right there. The amount of guests they've been able to bring on the platform, the way they've changed the game with the digital media, the amount of guests that they've not only got on the platform, but challenged these guests to be the best versions of themselves. Guests feel like they have to come prepared. Some guests have even admitted that they've had a little bit of fear coming onto the program. I don't see any other radio show out there even close to what The Breakfast Club has done in the last decade or so. But I have to admit it, watching the show of recent, it's becoming awkward. There is tension between two of the three co-hosts on the show as DJ Envy tries to man the decks. Charlamagne the God and Angelique Yee, they're not getting along anymore. It's just simple as that. Yee's done a few interviews speaking on it. I just heard Charlamagne speak about it a couple weeks ago. Pretty much both of them acknowledge that they're just co-workers. Well, Angela Yee took that a bit further in this new interview that she did with Variety. Again, this comes after in 2019, Charlamagne did the interview with Gucci Mane, the one-on-one interview in which Gucci Mane did call Angela Yee out of her name amidst the tension that those two had. And Charlamagne just stood there and let Gucci do it. Now, Angela Yee gives her honest opinions on her co-host Charlamagne. She said, "We've always been the same. We work together and it is what it is. Like he said, we're co-workers. A lot of people have jobs when they don't necessarily love the people who they work with. It's just part of life. That's not the person you'd hang out with in real life. There's been a lot of experiences. The important thing is I've always been a responsible person. As a woman too, you have to be a lot stronger. Things are always happening that if you let it bother you, you'll be mad all the time. It's hard not to take things personally. It sucks because sometimes you feel so numb. You used to get so upset over things and feel so much. After a while, shit keeps happening. You're just numb to it now. Also, if we got along a lot of the time, it probably wouldn't be the most interesting show. The way that I am, there's certain things that I don't agree with, and I've just never been the type of person that I was always taught in radio. If somebody is talking, then you don't talk over them. Sometimes it's hard to even speak. Sometimes being the only woman on the show, I have to always try to cut in because I'm also the person who's doing the research, watching the shows, reading the books. I'm always trying to give validity and points across. There's not enough room for me to do that and express my feelings. You have to figure out to be one or the other. When we do Rumor Report, I have the stories. When we do front page news, I'm presenting the stories. It doesn't leave as much space for you to say, okay, here's what I think. I express myself a lot more outside of that show. Yeah, I get Angela Yee's side 100%. Here's the conundrum. You know, Yee is too powerful of a woman to just give the news and allow Charlamagne and Envy to react. That's tough. So many women have just stood around and been that role in radio. And I salute Yee for breaking that mold and becoming much more as a personality, doing her own thing with her podcast. That's doing great. Here's the thing. Charlamagne has become the personality that you either really love or you really hate. There's really no in between. But you respect him as a journalist, at least I do. And he's become the perspective that we care about the most. I don't think it's necessarily personal with Yee at this point. People just only care about Charlamagne's perspective. I don't think people necessarily care about Envy's perspective either. But Envy doesn't overdo it. And I believe sometimes, more times than not, Yee's trying to be heard so bad in conversations. And a lot of these convos, people just don't think Yee is as dope as Charlamagne's perspective. And I think that's the conundrum. And I have to admit, it's tough to be in Yee's position because she is the one doing the research, bringing those stories to the forefront that those guys react to. But when someone becomes in your home over the decade as much as Charlamagne, it's the LeBron syndrome. It's like playing with LeBron in his prime, playing with Jordan in his prime. You know he's the catalyst. How do you find a role that makes you feel important in between? Quick news break with yours truly, Mr. Taliaferro. I'm out. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
I got the kids. Tuned in. We locked in right now, Mr. Taliaferro.
Mr. Taliaferro.
Shout out to Mr. Taliaferro.
You're watching Mr. Taliaferro TV.
Mr. Taliaferro TV.